My name is Nassim Sabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
So this video is a call to all 911 truthers. You have been misled for over a decade. I'm going to focus you in on the only argument that you need to win a debate about 911. It's called Building 6. It was a 10-story building. It's 500,000 square feet. That's a lot, okay? It's missing the interior of the building. It's not crushed. It's not in the basement or something like that. It's actually missing. It's like somebody scooped it out. Now, think about this building. It's missing its core. That's your smoking gun. You don't need nothing else. Nobody's going to be able to argue with this. They can't say, oh, there's a nuke went off in that building, because the core of the building is actually missing, but the exterior is intact. They're not going to be able to get away with saying, oh, it's just crushed or it's gone into the basement, because it's not in the basement and it never got crushed. Everybody knows this. It's missing. Everybody ignored it. And it's not going to be ignored no more. This is something that you have to push out there. I can't do that. You have to do that. It's the encumbrance is on you. If you truly want to put an end to this, you have to push this out, and you can. You have that power. You phone up radio stations. You repost this video with different headlines, different tags. You push Building 6 out there like you never pushed it before. Push back. You have to push back for your children's future, for your own future, and for humanity's future. You have to push back. Building 6 is the end-all to the conversations and the debate. Nobody can argue with you after that. You forced them. You will force them to reevaluate everything that they ever thought. Everything that they ever said becomes obsolete when you look at Building 6. There is no logical explanation for Building 6 is your smoking gun, not Building 7, not the Twin Towers, not even Shanksville, not even the Pentagon. Building 6 is the paradigm breaker. I'm begging you, you've got to push this out there. This is the information. I'll take the heat. I don't care. I don't care. What's the sense of not having a future for your children? If you want a future for the children, you have to push this out there. You have to hold them accountable. You have to hold the media accountable. They've never asked this question. You have to pose the question to them. It is your responsibility. Don't look for other people to do this job. You have to do this, folks. Building 6. That's all I'm asking. Keep pushing it. Keep shoving it out there. Don't debate anything else. Just say, ha, what about Building 6? And just leave it there. Make them think. Make them look themselves. Make them face the reality. And hugs for everybody that tries their best. And for everybody that seeks the truth. Because you're doing the right thing. Take care.
Star pentagon, which is the pentagram, as their symbol, because the pentagon is where we construct and organize and mastermind the death, destruction, and genocide across the world. And of course, they mind control the sheep to actually believe that the World Trade Center could fall with fire. And of course, they want you to believe that a jet actually flew into the Pentagon on September 11th, which happens to be the very day the Pentagon was constructed. And I am the one that discovered that Manhattan in New York was discovered by Henry Hudson on September 11th. So now you'll understand why the Illuminati places their pentagram or their star of Sirius, the star of death, as their symbol for the military, which is why you'll find the symbol of Sirius upon all of the vehicles of death. And now you'll also understand why the tyranny of the police officer also uses the star of death, the star of Sirius. So why do you think Chrysler, the Christ Slayer, uses the star of Sirius, the pentagram, as their symbol? Because Chrysler was the company that manufactured the vehicles that America used to cause death and destruction across the world. And the ritualistic, obsessed elite use the numerology of the 5 within the 5. And of course, all of the Illuminati blatant numerology is in plain sight. Thus, the Pentagon is 77 feet tall, or 23 meters high. And of course, they tell us that 23,000 workers work there. And I'm sure you already know about the obsession that the Illuminati elite have with the wise old owl, which is a symbol of silent death. And you'll notice the star of the United States Capitol that sits in the belly of the beast of the owl. Which is why in the belly of the beast of the Pentagon in the center is the sacred owl. The owl of death, which says, "So mote it be," which is a saying that you'll find in witchcraft and secret societies. And that's why the symbol for Satanists, as well as witchcraft, is that of the pentagram, the 5-pointed star, or the pentalpha. The same pentagram that you'll find at every Masonic lodge. And the star Sirius would rise in the east, which is why the Freemasons have the secret society of the Eastern Star. And if you are a sister of the Eastern Star, then you will now understand why the middle really does mean the words that it displays, which is fatal, which means death. So for those that don't know, the Eastern Star is for the women of Freemasonry. Thus the connection of the star, or the pentagram, with that of the goddess aspect. So the star symbol traces its roots and history to that of the female. In fact, the very etymology of the word star comes from the ancient Sumerian goddess Ishtar, Ashtarte, or Ashera. In fact, Ashera actually means the fire woman. And just like in Hawaiian, they have the goddess Pele, who is the goddess of fire. In fact, even the name Ashera has the name ash in it, like ashes of a fire. Now, witchcraft, which uses the pentagram as their symbol, has the female, or the woman, who is the queen. There is not a king. The queen is the Most High. So the pentagram, or the 5, belongs to the female. This is why the 5th day of the week, which is Friday, is named after Frigga, or Freya, which is Venus, the goddess Aphrodite. And not only is the 5th day of the week dedicated to the female, but so is the 5th month, the month of May. And that's why May is the month of the May Queen. So now you'll understand why Macy's, which is named after the month of May, uses the 5-pointed pentagram as their logo. And now you know why your wife loves to shop at Macy's.
I can tell you, I've just been a place that I have been to that, frankly, no firefighters want to go to. Behind me, you see burning 7 World Trade Center. I didn't know it at the beginning, at the tape you're about to see. I didn't know it was the 7 World Trade Center, but I know it now coming back. A 4-block radius has been cordoned off because fire officials expect that building to collapse.
And I've got Don Daler here with me. We've been dividing up all the duties here, and he's been down to the scene. And also J.D. Halpern, who said he's just a volunteer who came in from California and was around the area. I just wanted to know, how much fire is there? You said you were just at ground zero. How much fire is left?
Well, the building 7, there was no fire there whatsoever, but there was one truck putting water on the building, but it's collapsed completely. And then the other building that there were some flames still coming up was in World Trade Center 1, but not a lot.
And you said you saw melted tour buses, melted cars?
The cars that were right down there, it was just unbelievable. They were twisted and melted into nothing. The debris is just unbelievable. And then you can see fire trucks and police vehicles that were down there early that all their windows, the windshields are completely blown out must have been from when debris dropped.
2 days after the attack on September 13th, Dan Rather was interviewing a man named Tom Kenney, K-E-N-N-E-Y, who was a FEMA employee. Now this is 2 days, this is the 13th. And Dan Rather says to him, and this fellow works for FEMA, and he's been, of course, there working in the ruins. And he said, well, when did you get into town? And Kenney said, we flew in Monday evening, and we deployed Tuesday morning. Dan Rather didn't bother to say, why did they fly in the night before the attack? And we actually got that film clip.
Tom Kenney, rescue worker with the National Urban Search and Rescue. It's part of FEMA.
To be honest with you, we arrived on late Monday night and went into action on Tuesday morning. And not until today did we get a full opportunity to work the entire site other than the spot at Church and Day to which we were deployed.
And of course, the satanic, pedophilic Illuminatists from Disney are also associated with the number 23. So remember when I told you about the Roman general Julius Caesar, who was stabbed 23 times? You see, once again, this is symbolism of July 23rd. You see, the month of July, the etymology, is actually named after Julius Caesar. So the 7th month is named after Julius Caesar, July, and the 23. Once again, you have July 23rd. And you'll notice the related numerology of the 7 and the 23. And I also said to keep an eye on the 5 and the 11 as well, which we'll get into later. Now remember that on July 23rd, when Sirius rises, it's the beginning of the annual flood season of the Nile River. So perhaps this is why they have the story of Julius Caesar and him being saved from drowning. So the ancient Egyptian ritual of July 23rd was carried over to the Roman Empire. Now the Greek god of water or of the sea is Poseidon, which is the Roman Neptune god. Now, would you believe that the Romans celebrated Neptunalia on July 23rd? So we are all familiar with the blue, watery planet of Neptune, which was discovered on September 23rd. So once again, September 23rd is 723. Remember that septum or sept means 7. Now the deep blue sea of the underworld or of the abyss brings me to the house of Anubis, which of course has the symbolism of the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati.